This is for you if you're looking to squeeze every last ounce of your productivity and funnel it into your work so you can perform better, have more energy, have more focus, and do higher quality work. Before we get into this, for those of you who don't know me, I have been working with millionaire entrepreneurs like Jordan Platton, Matt Shields, Thomas Gannett, Marcus Pizarro, and Nathan Nazareth, and a lot of other high performers you probably have seen and heard of, to help them increase their energy, increase their focus, and increase their performance in the business so they can be more efficient and unlock true superhuman performance. I have spent more than 10 years working on my own health and more than $60,000 in biohacking tools, gadgets, and supplements, and have tried pretty much everything you can try and think of to try and maximize my performance. One of the key things that we work on with our clients is how to structure our day for optimal focus, energy, and productivity. There are three main variables that will determine how you should structure your day: your sleep schedule, your meals, and your exercise. Those three variables will give you a blueprint of when to place specific tasks of the day according to your energy levels and performance. So let's jump straight into this video and talk about how do you structure your day for optimal focus. The first thing to talk about here is your sleep and your sleep schedule specifically. Now, if you optimize your sleep, that means that you're asleep for 8+ hours every day ideally, especially if you want to maximize REM sleep and deep sleep. Because whenever we're talking about mental performance, mental acuity, memory, stress balance, and being able to have a lot of energy throughout the day, then we are talking about mainly REM sleep acquisition. Because all of those different functions, REM sleep is mainly responsible for them, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean we need to subtract deep sleep. Deep sleep is also crucially important for other things, but now we're talking about mental performance, testosterone levels, drive, focus, energy. So that is why we need to optimize your sleep quality in order to get better sleep. And that is why we need to optimize your sleep schedule, but also optimize your sleep quality. In order to optimize your sleep quality plus your sleep schedule, you need to optimize your circadian rhythm. And how you do that is by doing the appropriate things at the appropriate times of the day. So your sleep schedule, let's say, takes 9 hours of your day. Then let's imagine that this is 9 hours span. So from here is when you wake up, here's when you go to bed. You sleep for 9 hours, you wake up here, okay? Now, keep in mind, 9 hours in bed is not 9 hours of sleep. You need to account for time lost in wake-up time. And if you're tracking your sleep with a wearable device like the Oura Ring or a Whoop band, you will identify exactly how many minutes or for how long are you awake for each night, so that you will be able to make sense of, okay, in order for me to get more than 8 hours of actual sleep, high quality sleep, I need to account for the time loss in awake time. So that's why I recommend myself and all of my clients to leave 9 hours of sleep opportunity, 9 hours in bed. That way you can acquire more than 8 hours and therefore maximize REM sleep. So that leaves you with 15 hours for the rest of the day. And when you do optimize your circadian rhythm, let me show you how your energy levels and your focus levels, your overall performance should naturally look like at any given part of the day. So let's start with green. This part of the day here is the first 8 hours of the day in which you are at your peak. So your energy levels and your focus is at the maximum peak that it will be throughout the whole 15-hour part of the day. So the first 8 hours of the day is this here. Now, after the 9th hour, moving forward here, your energy levels start to naturally be lower, okay? So you are here around from hour 8 to around hour 12, let's say. So hour 8 to hour 12, your energy levels will naturally tend to slowly drop. First 8 hours of the day, high energy, peak performance. After the 9th hour moving forward, your energy levels naturally tend to decrease. It's naturally how your circadian rhythm works based on the chemicals your brain produces. Now, here's a fun part. Here's an interesting part. Like from hour 12 to hour 15 here, your energy levels tend to drop more. So around this part of the day, it's when you are going to be very sleepy. From hour 12 moving forward, so the last 3 hours of the day, let's say. Now, 3 hours before bed, you are at your least optimal to perform, provided that your circadian rhythm works perfectly, which means that you're not going to drink coffee or take any stimulants at that time. And as a result of that, your circadian rhythm will be naturally working as it should be, which means that last 3 hours of the day, you're at your least optimal. Now, you might be thinking, what about the other two variables, your meals and your exercise? Well, what I didn't tell you is that in order for this like a little structure here to work with your energy levels, green being the highest, yellow being decent to low, and orange being very low, in order for this to actually work and make sense, your circadian rhythm will need to work properly. And in order for your circadian rhythm to work properly, you need to place your meals and exercise at the appropriate times. Now, let's start with exercise. All of the data in the neuroscientific literature points to the fact that how important is exercising right before you have to use the brain for the most important task of the day. And it's insane how important this is. So think about using your brain for the hardest, most mentally challenging thing of the day right after you work out. And so if we put one and one together, most of you will probably do deep work in the morning. And if you're wanting to work according to your circadian rhythm, that means that your exercise, it means that it should be here in the morning, first thing in the morning, to leverage and optimize your circadian rhythm. When the first thing that you do in the morning is exercise, this will set in alignment the chemicals that need to be produced in order for your body to achieve this state. This state here, the green, yellow, and orange, is not naturally occurring in your system like if you don't do anything. As I said before, you need to optimize your circadian rhythm. In order to optimize your circadian rhythm, what you need to do is to do the appropriate things at the right times. One of the things that is the appropriate thing to do in the morning is exercise. And the main reason is because it actually boosts cortisol reduction. And by doing so, it will amplify your energy levels in the morning, which will help us also sync the circadian rhythm. Now, we want to do everything here to achieve our peak in cortisol as early in the day as possible. Naturally, you want to have this when you wake up in the morning. And when you achieve the peak in cortisol as early as possible, here's a good picture. When you achieve a peak in cortisol, your brain will start an internal countdown that will last about 12 hours to 13 hours. That will say, okay, so in 12 to 13 hours from now, I will start peaking in melatonin as well. This here sets everything in motion. Most importantly, your sleep timing as well, which leaves us with the last variable, which is meals, your meals. Okay. Now, after we've exercised at the right time of the day, where are the meals going to be put? Okay. Now, provided that you do get all of your micronutrients and macronutrients and vitamins, the only thing that's remaining to consider is your meal timing. Now, the first most important thing is being fasted for the first 3 to 5 hours of the day. So let's say here, and fasting for the last 3 to 5 hours of the day. Let's say here. So that leaves us with an eating window of 9 to 5 hours, depends. So here's what I recommend you do for optimal focus and optimal energy. So high fat, moderate protein, low carb breakfast. So that's your breakfast here. High fat, moderate protein, low carb breakfast. And then potentially based on what your option is, based on what do you choose to do with your eating window, you potentially do a moderate protein, moderate carb shake. You can add some fats here, doesn't really matter. And then finally the dinner is the moderate fat, high carb, high protein. Okay, I'm going to explain why you do this in a minute, but let me explain how this is structured here. This here, if you're exercising in the morning, this should not change. You could maybe add a bit more carbs depending on your recovery and depending on your energy levels. Because when you exercise in the morning, what will happen is your body will use a lot of glycogen. So your glycogen stores will get depleted, and so you'll need to replenish them if you want to actually recover and build some muscle. So this is why this here will not change. The only thing that I suggest you change here is this here, and the main reason for this is recovery. Okay, now again, you don't want to be changing your breakfast if you're exercising first thing in the morning, because of the reason that I'm not going to repeat the same thing. As a matter of fact, if you're training in the morning, I suppose that your breakfast, you could do some moderate carb breakfast as well, but test it out. You definitely don't want to be foggy. You could benefit from this if you're training hard and a lot. You could do a bit more medium to moderate carbs, but this here is the only part that changes. And this is why I said 2 to 3 meals, because what I do, for example, is this. I just do dinner. I remove this out of the equation and I just do this. And that leaves me with like anywhere from 5 to 6 hours, maybe more. Like if we take into consideration that this is our 0 to 8 to 9, let's say, that's like 6 hours, maybe 7 hours, depending on how you feel. But the main reason why this could be beneficial for you is, first of all, you are going to have a big meal as your dinner at around like noon, 2, 1, 12, sometimes depends, anywhere from 3 to 4, okay? Let's say you're going to bed at 10, and if you do this here, that's probably going to be around 2-ish, something like that. It doesn't really matter. As long as you get the graph, like this is hour 0, hour 8, hour 12, and then hour 15, you're going to bed. So do the math in your head. that should be here. If you're looking to optimize recovery to the last ounce, this is more optimal to me than this. And the reason is that you can test it out for yourself, but the reason is that here you're making sure that your body not only enters fasted state, because in order for your body to enter a fasted state, it doesn't have to finish at the last bite. Fasting does not begin from the moment you just stop eating food. Fasting starts actually after 3 to 5 hours after your last bite. So knowing that to be true, let's say here is 3 hours before bed. Here should be like, it's not very proportional, but let's say here is like 6 hours before bed. Here, not only you're fasted, but also your body has already entered a detoxification and recovery state, and your HRV will be significantly higher with this here, because your body will not be dealing with food by any means necessary. You will not be dealing with food. And what you will be doing, your body's only focus while you're sleeping here is going to be recovery. So either 2 meals a day or maximum 3 meals a day, with the last meal of the day being 3 to 5 hours before bed. I much rather have my last meal before bed 5 hours, and then maybe a lunch, depending on the calories you're eating as well. That is the ideal ratio, okay? And taking that into consideration, most people are going to be in this space specifically are like, breakfast isn't the most important part of the day. It's not the most important meal of the day. You should skip breakfast. It's healthier to skip breakfast. Yes, I do agree. If you see here, we have a good bout of exercise done, come back home, take a shower, and like you've probably not eaten breakfast for the first 2 to 3 hours. So you're practically fasting. But the most optimal part of the day to fast, because you're still doing intermittent fasting, you're still getting the benefits of fasting. But the most important part of the day to fast would be in the night, for the reasons that I mentioned before. HRV, recovery, stress management. HRV essentially is the reflection of how stressed your body is, how stressed your nervous system, your immune system is, and how capable it is at recovering. And so you want a high HRV relative to your baseline versus a low HRV compared to your baseline. So what you want to do is, if you don't measure your sleep, you will not be able to see your HRV if you don't track your sleep with devices, again, like an Oura Ring or a Whoop Band. And when you do that, when you do eat your last meal, let's say 3 hours before bed, versus up here, versus your meal up here, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, maybe more towards 5 to 6 hours before bed, your HRV will be insanely different. So this is why when I said maybe a lunch, because I don't have a lunch, and therefore I have 2 meals a day, a breakfast that looks like this, and then around here I have a moderate fat, high carb, high protein to optimize for recovery. And for me, this is the most ideal golden standard for optimal performance in the day, but also optimal recovery, so that I wake up feeling super refreshed and able to smash my workouts. So this is how to structure your day, how to structure the main 3 key levers based on your circadian rhythm, so you can perform at your best. Now, the last moving parts of the day is like your work schedule, like your small bouts of stuff that you have to be doing after you wake up, like hydration, go to take a shower, it's stuff like that, especially specific times of workouts and stretches and all that. Like, this is not the part of the video. This is not the point of the video. The point of the video is to give you the blueprint of the skeleton on how to structure your day so that you can fill out the spots accordingly. Now, if you need help with filling out the spots and how to more precisely structure your day based on your own performance, then what you should do is click the link below in the description and join my school community, in which essentially I have a step-by-step protocol on how to optimize your circadian rhythm, how to optimize your gut health, your diet, your dopamine levels, your testosterone levels. And keep in mind, this protocol, this step-by-step protocol, I've tailored after having worked with people like Jordan Platten, Matt Shields, all of my clients in the beginning, and after having essentially identified what are the main causes of poor energy levels, brain fog, lack of motivation and drive, I've actually compacted and condensed everything into a specific, efficient, practical, step-by-step protocol you can implement to maximize your efficiency and unlock true superhuman performance in your business. So if that all sounds interesting and you want to see more valuable resources like this video right here, how to structure your day for optimal performance, but also how to fill the blueprint of your day, then again, click the link in the description below and join the community, join the protocol, and start taking action. And if you do that, I will see you on the other side. Let's make it happen. Take care.